On May the 11th, 2011, Lorca suffered 2 earthquakes with devastating results. 9 people died and 324 were injured. Almost 80% of real estate was struck, and it was even necessary to demolish more than 1,200 homes, premises and shops throughout the city. The historic center, declared of cultural interest with the highest level of protection, suffered serious damages, downfalls, crashes, and even the collapse of the Church of Santiago Apostol. The destruction reached every building of the city, and all its churches had to be shut down due to their dangerous state. Fortunately, there were no victims or injured persons in any of them, and in scarcely 10 hours, the recovery work began. All historic buildings had to be underpinned due to their instability and risk of collapse, as they showed large fractures and displacements, movements in buttresses, detachment of pinnacles, sculptures and columns. Those pieces at higher altitudes fell over the lower ones, causing huge impacts and holes in the vaults. Furthermore, there were large falls of coatings, moldings, and even entire parts of the altarpieces. All buildings showed fractures and cracks, some so large that they displaced the high bodies of towers, arches and walls. The project involves intervention in 6 very significant religious buildings, which make up for a fundamental part of the city's urban scale. These are the churches of San Patricio, San José, Santiago Apostol, Nuestra Señora del Carmen, San Mateo, and the old convent of San Francisco. The restoration performed at these buildings of the historic center not only has achieved the recovery of their appearance in terms of construction, decoration and functionality, but has also allowed for the revitalization of this area of the city. It was very important to restore the buildings, but it was also essential to bring back the social life and urban scene at the city center by launching an engine that would favor the return of residents, businesses and tourism. Financial contributions have arrived from quite diverse organisms and entities. The efforts of the Bishopric of Cartagena and the Paso Azul, owners of the buildings, were backed up from the outset by many other sources who joined the initiative. The Crown, by means of the Reina Sofia Foundation, the state government, by means of the Ministries of Culture and Development, the region of Murcia, the Lorca Town Hall, the Spanish Episcopal Conference, as well as a multitude of individuals, enterprises and foundations. All these contributions have provided the necessary funds to carry out the restoration. What happened in Lorca is extraordinary. In barely 5 years, the city has recovered great part of its historical heritage. Furthermore, and during this short period of time, the initial destruction, fear and despair have given way to a city that returns to life. Tourism and cultural events flourishing again, and most shops and premises open to the public. The guiding thread for this recovery has been a highly qualified technical team which comprises architects, archaeologists, restorers, technical architects, historians and construction companies. All of them specialized in the recovery of heritage. Among the main objectives, it is worth mentioning that of promoting the use of traditional techniques and materials, such as lime, stone, brick or wood, in such a way that buildings may recover great part of their original conditions. Another key objective is to strengthen the most vulnerable points, thus ensuring a better performance of the constructive and structural system in the event of another seismic tremor occurring in the future. The distinguishing aspect of this project is, without doubt, the devastating effect of the earthquake. The dimensions of destruction were so extensive that it seemed impossible to carry out a reconstruction. Fortunately, there were favorable circumstances and the personal willingness of many which made the success of the project come true. Firstly, the safety of all personnel involved, workers, owners, neighbors. Secondly, the fast evaluation and intervention, as well as the agility in coordination with the various institutions. The restoration of these 6 churches has been carried out by the same team of builders and under a single technical direction. The objectives of the project were mainly 2. First, the preservation of the original architecture and the utmost respect for the historic, religious and cultural fact they represent. Second, the efficiency and the recovery of these buildings, minimizing potential damage from future earthquakes. The recovery of the temples has achieved not only the restoration of worship and religious feelings of the population, but also a strengthening of heritage as the backbone of the city. This type of intervention allows for the binding of an entire town around their own history and culture, which becomes an essential element for the development of Lorca society.